Beers of War podcast. And today we're going to discuss the Nintendo Switch, a lot of the controversy behind it, and the continued migration from physical to digital games. So pop a cold one, grab some seats, and let's have some fun.
Beers of War Gaming podcast. Just recently, within the last week, or has it been over a week now that the Nintendo Direct? Is that what it's
I think it
called?
was Tuesday or Wednesday this past week.
One of the biggest controversies that's been raising a lot of eyebrows and people are kind of really turning their nose to is Nintendo found a way to basically take a physical copy and make it digital. And what I mean by that is they're basically you go buy a game, a cartridge, and it basically is a key once you put it into your system to go download the digital version of it, put it on your system. As long as you have that key, you can play that game. Well, the problem is like we've talked about before, if you do the digital, at what point can they just turn it off? And we've talked
Yep.
about that numerous times on numerous episodes about when stuff pops up about physical media and digital media and how everything's going away from physical. What's your guys' opinion?
I absolutely hate it. That was one of the things that was unique to Nintendo is that most of their stuff was physical. I mean, you could buy digital copies of games. I mean, they have if you go in any place that retails video games, you can buy a card that actually has that digital key. But if someone goes into a store and sees a Switch game that they want, or Switch 2 game now that we're getting into the Switch 2, and they choose the physical copy, they should receive a physical copy. That just doesn't it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem fair. And I understand it's the way of business now. But at what point is the consumer the priority? And if I want a physical copy, I should be able to purchase a physical copy that I can use. And then if I purchase another, perhaps Switch 2 console, I should be able to take that same physical cartridge, put it in my new Switch 2, and be able to play it. So it really isn't fair for the consumer. And I don't see, aside from just flat out pure greed, what the benefit for the consumer is.
Yeah,
Ninja's
because they
reading
even mentioned,
profusely.
and we've mentioned this before with one of the things that everybody likes about the Nintendo with the Switch and even previous iterations of the Nintendo console is when you buy a physical cartridge, physical game, it is ready to go. From what I've been kind of reading at is it's almost like when you even buy it, it may not be it's their way of not selling a completed game anymore.
Hmm.
So it's maybe their way of trying to rushing out more titles quicker so they could keep stuff going instead of holding back and refining a product before they release it to everybody.
Yeah. And that's just, I mean, it's kind of egg on the face. And Stacy and I, Mrs. I won't call her Mrs. Bigness because she'll hit me. Um, but we watched a 45-minute video about microtransactions and how this entire thing came into being. And it ranges everything from purchasing incomplete games, because it used to be you bought a game and that was it. Your purchase was complete. You buy it, you take it home, you play it. Done and done. Done and dusted. And now it's you buy it, you have to download half the game onto your console after you buy it. Then you have to download DLC if you want the complete game. It doesn't really seem like we're receiving completed products. And when you couple that with the fact that the Switch, that the Switch games are going to be $80, not 70, which is what we're accustomed to paying, not 50, which is what you used to be able to get a lot of Nintendo games for. I think I won't say the GameCube, but the Wii, most of those games were $50. And now we're at a point where you're asking $80 for something that isn't necessarily what I went to the store with the intention of spending $80 on. That is a bold flex, Nintendo. Bold strategy. Let's see if it works.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Actually, Bigness, one thing to interject real quick about what you just said. That $80 is for the digital. The physical is going to be 90.
The
Yes,
physicals
there is
what?
going to be a 10. The physicals, they're talking physicals are going to be 89.99 now.
Let me say this with my entire chest. She.
We'll see.
I gotta say, after I read the article, are we 5 seconds into the video? Good. Okay. Yeah. After I read the article, I was like, I'm confused as shit about why this is coming out right now. Like to me, this it seems like you're gonna try to justify hiking up your prices by bringing out something that's kind of useless in a way. I mean, I'm pretty sure they got smart people behind here thinking they have this, idea about how this is going to work out and everything. But why are you going to sell me something that's not even complete? Why should I have to pay you 60, 70, 80 bucks, 90 even for an incomplete game? To me, that's just like it's like we're going backwards in gaming, It's almost like the big takedown, back when Atari crashed and all that kind of shit, because I think people are going to start losing more interest in stuff like this. I know as a physical collector myself, I would definitely lose interest in it right away. And I was really banking on Nintendo and don't get me wrong, they're a great company. I have a lot of nostalgia for them and everything like that. But this just does not seem like the direction that they're going for. People keep talking about wanting to go to a whole digital format and whatnot. We're going to make just the TV, the display and everything, shit like that. But it it just seems like they're just adding more to it, and it's just like they're kind of going the opposite direction that way as well. I mean, I believe digital media has its place in this world. Of course it does. It's been around for years now, whether it's from books, whether it's from music, or whatever the case may be. But guess what? I don't have to buy a whole lot of stuff just to get it to work. And now it looks like we're going to be doing that with the Switch and everything. So it's just like just make physical cartridges, make the games like you used to, completed, you know, and that's pretty much it. Either they're preparing for something that's going to happen with the next gen consoles or something like that, or do they expect or foresee something? I don't know, but I know that by adding more of this stuff to it, it's just I think it's going to deter some people in a way, especially with physical collecting. It makes no sense collecting for it, in my opinion.
No, not at all.
Why am I going to buy something that's not even a complete game or anything like that and just have it in my collection? Because like you said, it could be taken away at any time once we load it up and everything, right? And I started getting hints of Xbox when they first announced the Xbox One. You remember that debacle, right? The whole thing when it came out and they were talking about how you couldn't even take your game and play it at a friend's house or something like that. I started getting that kind of vibe from Nintendo when I read the article and everything. I was like, they're kind of going in a different direction. It's like they want more full control over it, but still take your money in the process. They've made so much money, so much. The Switch right now is still selling for 300 bucks brand new. And people are still buying these products. So I don't know what else I don't know what else to say or what else to do when it comes to like that. I don't We already know, and there's no secret. I don't have a Nintendo Switch. I've played Nintendo Switch. I've enjoyed the Nintendo Switch and everything, and I wouldn't mind collecting for the Nintendo Switch. But I'm just not a big fan of what direction they're going with right now because I was super stoked that they said it was going to be backwards compatible and everything, which is what a lot of gamers really want. You put all this money and effort into buying all this stuff, whether it be digital or physical, you want to still continue playing them. I'm playing Xbox 360 games right now and PlayStation 4 games right now, and I'm still enjoying them. They call it definitive edition, you know which is basically all the stuff they've done to it at this point. And now it's like we're getting an unfinished edition for Nintendo. So that's my soapbox. I'm drink my beer now.
Yeah, I've got to give a shout out to 1980s gamer. And that's where I've seen a lot of these videos where he's been coming out really hitting hard on the Nintendo Switch as of late. He's the one who tipped me off about the whole issue with the buying the cartridge is just the key code to be able to download the digital media of a game. And it's just like more and more I hear about that comes out about the Switch. I'm like, what is going on?
It's
I
almost like
mean,
it's almost like they're getting you to try to hate physical media just so they can move on and just do the whole digital thing. Just do it. Just do the digital thing.
Well, here's my sticking point with the Nintendo Switch, and this may delve into the pricing discussion as well. With the game, anybody who's played the last three iterations of Nintendo, whether that be the Wii, the Wii U, now the Switch, in comparison with other consoles in that generation, the Switch was always the one that was felt like it was a generation behind in terms of graphics, in terms of um, in terms of gameplay, graphics, those things. Modern or top end games that you could play on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, you could not play those games on the Switch. So you're going to ask me now. You put that in the in the same sphere right now. If you want to buy an Xbox Series system, you're going to pay what, 249, 299 for a Series S. And
Probably about that.
if you want to buy a PlayStation 5, you're going to pay 499. Okay. So you're going to ask a consumer now to pay 449, which is what the Switch 2 is going to come out, and then pony up $80 for a digital or $90 for a physical to play a game that is graphically and in terms of power on par with the PlayStation 4. That again, that seems like a real bold ask. And I understand that Nintendo has properties and has properties that people are extremely dedicated to. And when Nintendo puts a game out, it is still a solid game. Splatoon was a solid game. Splatoon 3 is a solid game. Mario Kart World looks fantastic. The new Donkey Kong game looks great. They will be able to run bigger, more beefy titles. And some of the Ubisoft games and stuff like that, I'm sure they'll be able to run. Uh, but still, that is a real big ask to ask a consumer. We're going to sell you a graphically inferior product to our counterparts, and we're going to bet that because it's got Mario or Donkey Kong or Animal Crossing or Splatoon, because it's got those titles along with it, you're willing to pay now a $20 premium over the cost of the games and the same price in terms of the consoles. So, like I said, good luck. That is a bold strategy. Inflation be damned. You're buying an inferior experience. Whenever you buy tech, any kind of tech, once it comes out, it immediately starts depreciating. It's like a car. A PlayStation, you can probably buy a PlayStation 4 now for 150, 200 bucks. You're getting that same equivalent power out of the Switch too. I don't see it.
I don't see it either. Seems like every year it's just getting ridiculous now with the with things that are coming out. Like I'd like to see what the sitting room was like when they came up with the ideas and everything like that. I kind of want to experience that. I'm thinking people who don't game a whole lot or whatever, and they're more about crunching numbers and stuff and how we're going to be able to, dig into it more. To me, it kind of just came off like it's almost like price gouging in a way. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm pretty sure people are going to buy it. Obviously, people are going to buy the Switch too. People have been waiting for this thing to come out for years. This is like one of the most anticipated consoles in the past, what, 5, 10 years that people wanted. Five
yeah.
years, let's say. And I don't know. I think I'd rather just stick with an all digital platform at that point. And that's hard for me to say. That's hard to swallow. Because there's just no sense. I just don't see why I'm going to buy this thing so I can load it up and download the rest of the game in there. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then I can download it. And if I read this right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you can download this thing and have the opportunity to play these games offline. I don't understand why is it so hard to just put the whole damn game on there and just pop it in and it's ready to go. That doesn't
Oh,
make
and
sense. No.
the technology nowadays, I mean, you could go put entire catalogs on older consoles on flash drives. So I know it's not a space issue for the cartridge. I mean, you could put on probably on a 28 gig hard drive or 32 gig flash drive or SD card, I think you could put the entire Super Nintendo library on one.
Yeah, you can.
And
Sure.
even on a 64 gig, you could still put almost like all of PlayStation 1's. So it's not I don't think it's a space issue on the cartridge itself, and that's why they're wanting to do this. I just think it goes down to more along the lines of wanting more control over a game, and if you piss them off, let's just shut your access down to your game, or it gives them more control to be able like to add other like subscription features to games from now on. Is like we've mentioned before is I download a game, a digital game. How long is it till they got to start making us pay $5 a month to be able to continue to play it each month?
That right there.
I just I still don't understand the whole concept of buying a cartridge that doesn't have a game on it, but just has the key to lock access to be able to download and play the game. I, that math ain't mathing right now. And
You know why
why?
they're doing it? You know why they're doing it? Because they can. Because there hasn't
It,
been enough
it,
consumer backlash to tell them that they can't.
and this goes back to, and this is like one of the arguments I hear, and I'm gonna go into a sports analogy is people bitch, moan, and groan about how much athletes make. But as long as people still watch the games, attend the games, and buy the merchandise, they're still going to be paid that much until people realize that they actually have the control to stop that. If we could muster up a boycott and say, "Hey, nobody buy the Nintendo Switch because we're protesting," and the sales actually legitimately drop off, you're going to see a change real quick. But us as consumers, especially in gaming world, it's always about FOMO. And as soon as that new console comes out, everybody has to have it.
I think they're also banking on a younger, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? A younger generation, geographic, whatever you want to call it, to do
Demographic.
something because they're not demographic. Thank you. I think they're banking on a younger demographic based off of this stuff because they don't know what the hell is going to go on. All they know is there's a new gaming console come out. I want to play the new latest and greatest game. Mommy, buy it for me. You know,
I think the opposite is true. I think that they're banking on the fact that the average gamer now is 35. And I don't know that age at that age, I don't know. You know, there are people that think about this kind of stuff. And at 35 years old, you start to develop a little more disposable income. You tend to be in a better job than you were at 17. You're not scrapping together money to go buy a game, you know, a used game from GameStop. You can go in and buy something brand new because more than likely you're in your career based job.
I hope that's
And
not the demographic they're going for because
yeah,
35-year-old versus a 17-year-old is a lot much more, well, depending on who you are, more intelligent now and can think more freely for themselves if they're going to really want to put themselves in that position.
but you say that. You say that.
Mhm.
But a 35-year-old, you think about a 35-year-old, they were born in 1990. They've been gamers their entire life. They did not witness the crash in 1983. They've had a video game controller in their hand probably since they were 4 or 5 years old. Video games are as much a part of their life as sports is to maybe our generation. Because when we were kids, and you know, I'm older than both of you guys, but when we were kids, you know, you had three channels and you watched sports on all three of them. And it it is gaming is ingrained in the culture. Even the guys you would consider jocks and preppies and all that stuff, they still go home and play Fortnite. They still go home and play Call of Duty and 2K. The reason they're making so much money and gaming is so big now is because everybody in this generation, I don't even know what letter of the Greek alphabet we're on now with generations, but they've all grown up playing video games. Now, where the speed bump is coming for video games is you're heading to a generation now with the generation that follows them, those 35-year-olds and such, their kids, where if they have to choose between the video game and the phone, they'll pick the phone. So that's coming for video games, that's coming for sports. Hell, some of these kids are so backwards with the phone thing, they don't even want to learn how to drive. They can't hold a job. So that's where the speed bump is coming for a lot of these entertainment industries. Why do you think people don't go to movies anymore? Because they can't, because they have the attention span of a gnat. You're gonna sit through a 90-minute movie when you can't stop looking at your phone for 45 seconds.
Let's go ahead and wrap this topic up. But I do have one question to pose. This goes for everybody out there, YouTube, but it's something we could probably answer at a later time. We've seen what changes Nintendo's doing, especially with the physical/digital. If Nintendo's going that route, and we're still a year and a half, 2 years away from PlayStation and Xbox's new console, what are they going to change that nobody's going to like?
They're pretty on par with pricing, I can tell you that much. As far as like when they come out with some great console or whatever. I know with the next upcoming generations, it's supposed to be a pretty big deal. But then again, they hype it up like every console that comes out, it's like a pretty big deal. But the new ones, especially with Xbox, is supposed to be way more PC based. Therefore, they can cram a whole lot more stuff in there and everything, which also means is that they're going to make these great games, but it's not going to be a great game until, a year later or something like that, till they actually have it, completed. So I think the trend in the video game industry is really just about the same, and now Nintendo's jumping on that bandwagon, and which is kind of disappointing. But it's just like that. People are going to buy it. People are going to buy it. Doesn't matter what you are. I do still personally think they're trying to target a younger audience, but you know, one way or another, it's going to happen, and people are going to buy these things. It's just, and it could crash. Who knows? Maybe it could be like, what is it, 83 Atari? It could crash as well. I mean, where are we? What is this? A multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industry?
We're getting into
Uh,
the trillions.
yeah. So it's just like, I don't know, man. I just want to play games and have fun, and I just want to collect and everything. I don't collect half broken pieces of shit. I collect things that make me feel happy, and knowing that I can go back to it anytime I want, knowing that it is mine and that nobody else can take it away from me. You know,
I think you're going to see, and this hurts to say, you're going to see the first $700 console, and you're going to see $100 games.
Yeah.
You're to steal from Ubisoft your quadruple A titles, which we've done a video about this, about GTA 6 possibly being $100. You're going to see $100 games, or you're going to see subscription model based games where you're not buying, you're buying a license to play the game that renews either on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis.
right. The sad, sad day in gaming.
They're gonna squeeze it dry, guys. They're gonna squeeze us dry.
So, for all you listeners out there, tell us what you think. What's your opinion of the Nintendo Switch physical digital concept they're coming out with, and what do you think possibly could happen with what new major changes the new consoles with the PlayStation, Xbox might come up to? So, you guys ready to wrap this one up? Guys got
Absolutely.
any drinks? Kevin, take it away.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to another exciting Beers of War podcast. We appreciate all the likes. We appreciate the comments, and share it. If you've got someone else in your life that loves gaming and loves pop culture and loves listening to old guys complain and bellyache, we are the place for you. So please get them up, boys. If you drink, may you drink with me.
Drink with me.
Drink with me.
It's good stuff.
Beers of War Gaming Podcast.